For everyone who's watching on YouTube, we are now going to be breaking down one of the Everyday Outdoorsman's YouTube video. Pennsylvania rifle hunting, public land deer down. No big buck down, just deer down.
Just deer down.
Just deer down. All right. So if you want to watch it, obviously go to our YouTube channel. If you just want to hear audio, then hopefully we bring you some music to your ears.
The Pennsylvania Big Woods, some of the most rugged, steep, vast, and secluded lands in the entire state. Yet their natural beauty, nostalgic forests, and wildlife draw people from all over the East and even different parts of the country. A sense of peace and tranquility have drawn people back for many generations. These wild areas are accessed by backcountry, dirt and gravel roads carved into hillsides that meander through quaint, quiet towns, often leaving the passerby with the feeling that they have stepped back in time. The cabins in the valleys have sat for decades, some left behind and forgotten, with the foundations sinking into the earth and the camp sign hanging on by a few rusty nails. While other camps along the way, still old and seemingly pieced together with whatever was laying around, are the gathering places for family and friends, enjoying each other's company and creating memories in the hills. As the woodsmen take to the hills, the thoughts of, if these hills could talk, what kind of stories could be told? From the trappers checking their trap lines in the winter, to the loggers armed with their crosscut saws and mules, to the deer hunters from long ago trying to harvest a deer to feed their family in the cold, snowy winter. While the land seems to be unchanged year after year, the stories, the memories, and the traditions continue to flow, and that's why, once you have stepped foot in these hills, you'll never want to leave, and you'll always want to come back.
Hey, look at that. So yeah, that was really good, honestly.
Thank you.
I watched it a few times before. Yeah. So walk us through that. Mm-hmm. So for the listeners, I mean, no one really have to paint the picture, but like, what was
introducing custom T-shirts? Sticker Mill makes it easy to turn any design.
Might as well just let it play out so I can skip it. Yeah. So those shots you were kind of talking about in the first episode, where it's like, you know, if it's a little shaky, it's okay, because you know sometimes you add that in there, like or on the log, like your camera's moving a little bit, but you kept that in there, right?
Right.
So like, walk us through. I'm sure not. You didn't go in like, oh, I have to get this and this, 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 and this. You know, like, where did that process come from?
Yeah, so I had this plan for a while because I wanted to paint the picture of our cabin and that area and kind of that old school mindset, why people are drawn to that area. So I'd actually like laid up a plan to get that film. So I drove separate to the cabin just because I was coming back early. So I was going to drive separate and film basically my way up to the cabin, get all that B-roll shots. So I knew what shots I wanted to make. So I believe I actually filmed the audio for that prior to me leaving.
Okay.
So I knew what B-roll shots I wanted to get. Yeah. So I had a plan in place, and just as I drove, I would stop at these locations or just get something as I was passing by. And like you said, some of them, they're not perfect, but it still paints the picture. There's some that are really smooth. There's others where the camera shifts a little bit, but it's not jumping around. If you have a good eye for it, you can catch that slight movement. But if you don't, it just flows. Right. And that's kind of what I was trying to portray there.
Well, you did a dang good job, that's for sure. Like that was good. It's almost like making me emotional. You know, like listen to it, it's like almost had a tear rolling down my face. But it's true. Like that was great. Like that's a great intro to a video. Really, like having that little. You're not just talking into it, because if you were talking into it, it wouldn't be as emotional, right? Like you had the old picture in there, you had the old cabins that were falling down, you had all this history added to it, and that's what adds to that. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that cabin was built by my grandpa. He pulled that up there 53 years ago. Wow. And it's still there, and we still use it. So just that history and the lineage and all those traditions, just I feel like I still didn't capture it all, but I tried my best.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's hard to capture the emotion of it, right? Like that's a hard thing to do in any film, unless you're. And you talked about you have an eye for it. What was that process of having an eye? Like, how long did it take you, like, to be like to that point right there?
So, I don't do that for every video.
Yeah, right.
Because that took a lot of time, a lot of time to film and a lot of time to edit. I'd say it's more of a progression. So in the last couple of years, Grant and I've been talking, like, how do we improve upon what we've already been doing? Yes, we've gotten to 100,000, but I feel like there's untapped potential going forward. So it's those little things people may not notice, but it just takes that to the next level in my mind. If a camera's not shaking, people don't know that I took that out.
Yeah.
But what they see is a more clean and a more flowing rendering of what we're trying to portray in a video.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Let's keep watching because I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah, I thought there was something else I wanted to add, but there's not.
Good morning, everybody. Today is the second day of the rifle season here in Pennsylvania. I'm in a kind of a historical spot here. We've killed quite a few deer out of this area. Some rack bucks, a handful of does. Just notorious for some good activity. Climbed up here this morning. It's pretty steep, but it's a big bowl. Around the top edge of that bowl is super thick, and guys come in from behind me and push, and they hunt their way in. Well, the wind is coming from that direction, drives the deer down into here. So I'm set up where I'm just off that thick stuff, and there's heavy trails right below me here that kind of parallel the hillside. So just hoping to catch a doe, cross a doe, or possibly even a buck. Beautiful morning again. Temps in the mid-20s, only getting up to about mid-30s today with a little bit of rain forecast this afternoon. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure how long I'll sit here, but it'll be a good long while.
So okay. So 8:30 a.m. So when do you guys feel that it's best time to, like, do that kind of intro? Like, do you wait a little bit? Do you wait till the sun comes up a little bit? Wait till crack first light? Because I think, like, for me, it's like, okay, I don't want to start doing it, and then all of a sudden a deer comes out, or, like, when do you feel like it's the best time to do that?
It varies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sometimes where we're doing interviews and the deer are walking in. Like,
Yeah.
We've had a couple of hunts where it's like, well, there's a deer, so let's spin around. Or there's others where we're seeing deer all morning and I'll do the interview at lunchtime.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just how it goes.
Okay.
You
feel it-
we're doing it before it even gets light. If you want to do it, in the car, if you drove to your hunting area, if you want to do it, when you're still 500 yards, when you're in the woods, but you're still 500 yards from the tree you want to hunt, we do it that way sometimes, but like you said, it varies.
It
Yeah.
varies.
Would you, like, say you have a green light or a red light, whatever, like, would you, like, shine that down your face too, to, like, do it in the tree? Like, if you get set up, good timing, do a little interview.
Our
beforehand?
cameras have built-in.
Yeah.
Oh, they do? Okay.
We'll do that,
I forget what it's called.
that built-in, what's it called?
Night glow.
Yeah,
something.
something like that.
It's like a light on your camera that hits your face, or, like,
yeah,
is
it like hits you, it like illuminates your face on the film, but it's not really like a light that
not really a light.
you can see
Right.
from,
Okay.
from a deer's perspective,
Correct.
For anyone's perspective.
Yeah, I don't use it a ton.
Yeah.
Okay, I always wonder that. Like, you see people do it. Like, I'm always going to use this a hunting public, for example, because they do it, where it's like you can see green on their face. Like, I always thought it was a green light that they were
That's
using, but most likely it's
Probably
camera.
built into the camera.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
More than likely.
Okay, is yours shows up green then, or, like, how does that show up? Okay,
Green.
Yeah.
all right. Well, that answers my question then for that.
Yeah.
So you need a night vision one to do it, unless I'll be out there with, like, a green light above me, like, just shining on my face.
Yeah.
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 All right, so 8:30 in the morning, you do the intro a little beforehand. You're hunting on the ground for this one.
Correct.
And you have the arm on the tree, which is because you don't see many people do that, where it's like they're on the ground and they have the camera arm on the tree. Most of the time you see them, like, with a tripod or something like that.
Yeah.
So was that your mindset going in, like, hey, I'm going to take this camera arm in and put it on a tree?
Right. So I don't use a tripod a whole
Okay.
lot.
All right.
With this, I just feel like I have much more movability around the tree. I can move that and adjust it however I like. Whereas with the tripod, I may have to actually pick it up and move it. And then if I'm on uneven ground, I have to shift the legs.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder.
Even. It's a lot harder.
Yeah.
In a ground blind, sometimes it's easier.
Tripod's the way to go. Usually it's your only option in a ground blind. But
Yeah.
Correct. But in this situation, and basically every time I hunt off the ground, it's a camera arm.
Okay. And the second angle here is a GoPro?
Yep. So
Okay.
that's on the tree. There's a big tree, and you'll see it in one of the clips.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah, the GoPro. Is that a 4?
It's 3.
3? Okay.
Pretty old.
Yeah. This is a 5. So that right there is a perfect example of like why that second angle comes in handy, because you had the deer right in front of you with the main camera, but then you had possibly a second shot come behind you, and you don't have that time. You're too focused on getting the deer down. You don't want to also be messing with the camera and turning around at the same time. Like, that's the second angle, and it doesn't look like for a 3. It doesn't look that bad.
No,
like really.
Honestly, no.
And that's what? Do they have 4K on that, or is that 1080p?
It's 1080p.
Yeah. Is that what mostly you guys edit your videos down to, 1080p?
It's just 4K.
4K.
Okay.
Most
all right.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You can't really tell a difference, really.
Yeah, it's
like
really
you can't.
It's really not. Yeah, it's really not much of a difference.
I think YouTube renders it down pretty good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how like the young ones just stay around just watching afterwards?
They presented a lot of great footage in these couple minutes. And we don't have to watch all this.
There's so much. There's so much emotion in their eyes.
Yeah.
Just their black eyes.
I didn't know it in the morning, but I was sitting on the trail that they wanted to walk down, really? So they just kept bumping into me constantly. After I shot this one, they kept wanting to come.
It's really cool footage though with the deer, because you don't really like them completely calm there.
Yeah. I was losing it.
The shaking, yeah. Is he cold or is he excited?
Both. Deer up there for the longest time.
And like you said too, that GoPro angle, like that is a perfect example of a sweet second angle. Like,
yeah, it is. I mean, you don't really think about it, right? Like, it's just one of those things. Like, I'll have the second angle to see my shot. But then you don't think about, what if the deer runs behind me or like runs out of frame of the main camera? Then you have the second angle. So I mean, it's good. I mean, even if you had like a 360, I know that people are going to 360s now. If you had that there, like you could literally capture everything around you. So like you don't necessarily need to move that camera arm wherever.
Right.
So like I mean, this one captured your deer running past you, behind you. It captured the motion you had to make to like when you were trying to get back on it to possibly shoot it again if you had to. It captured your emotion like after it got out of sight. Like that was one of the reasons we, this was the video we chose to break down, was because this hunt kind of has a little bit of everything. With that second angle in there too. With
the GoPro, did you press a button or do you have the app on your phone?
That's a button.
Button? Okay. All right.
Yep.
So that was pretty quick. Then you just press that probably first, and then you dig out the other camera.
I could hear those deer for the longest time, so I had it rolling for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had your jaw mount, you had your clamp, and you had that exact same setup
with a bow hook
on a bow hook.
Okay.
That's what I
okay. All right.
It's illegal, so.
Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah.
Just like a woodpecker, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
guys, this is point of impact.
The pure emotion in that.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were still able to keep the consciousness not to look at the LCD screen too. That just shows how long you've been doing it.
Yep.
Check this out. Buck rub. There's blood on it.
My gosh, he was spraying.
Oh my word. Yeah,
Want to make the switch to
Oh.
Shopify? Here's how to do
Damn.
it in a few easy steps. Sign
I
up
should
for a
pay
free
for the
trial
premium.
at shopify.com.
Well, you guys are welcome for the money.
Yeah, she really painted it.
Yes, you did.
And we do like to still show that, you know, because
Yeah.
it's real.
It is
That's
real.
what it looks like. So, like,
Do you guys get like I guess throttled down because of that? Because of blood? Or does it have to be a certain amount?
to get, as far as like demonetized by YouTube or a
Right.
strike by YouTube,
Yes.
we haven't really had it happen.
Okay.
We had some of our shorts get, I don't know what the word is, like,
There's like an age restriction.
like
and
an
stuff.
yeah, there's like,
Made for kids, not made for kids.
yeah,
That kind
some
of
of
thing.
the shorts may have been that way that we showed
There
blood
are.
in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing, right now, everything's still monetized, like that showed
Okay.
blood in it. So
Right.
I imagine it has to be like reported, right? Like someone has to watch and be like actually see it, then report it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Although I've heard maybe they already started implementing AI. That's what I've heard.
God.
YouTube might do that with reviewing these videos to like catch stuff. So
Yeah.
maybe next year will be different, but
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I mean, we don't want to go overboard with like
No. We
how
don't show
graphic it gets,
guts
but like,
or stuff
Yeah.
like that.
you know, at the same time, it's like that's what hunting is right
It's
there.
real.
That's what it
You-
looks like. So we try to show a little bit of that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're able to not have a blood trail at all and like not track a deer with blood, like I don't know what you're doing. But
Right.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
A bullet that like I don't know is so hot that it just cauterizes it or something like that. Like I don't know. Big old nanny doe.
That's my size deer. Great deer. Can't ask for much better than that, folks. That's where we came from.
I don't miss those mountains.
Deer doesn't do it justice. Some of the steepest terrain around here.
Yep.
And yeah, I think I heart shot her just with the amount of blood and where my crosshairs were when I shot what I remember the shot sequence. So yeah, she just came crashing down through here. Nice mature mountain doe. Oh yeah.
No one talks
She's
enough about the
size
mountain
that I was
does.
shooting on. And I would say that is
Whew, perfect shot.
right in the front shoulder. Perfect. Big old slick head. Oh yeah. Well folks, here she is. An awesome PA mountain doe. I was just talking to Grant a little bit on the phone via text, and I was telling him that this is probably one of the bigger mountain does I've killed. Just a really healthy looking deer. Turned out to be a group of 3 deer, 2 big ones and a young one. And the other 2, after I shot this one, just wanted to come back so bad. They were on that trail, and they just wanted to come through, but kept bumping into me. And but yeah, super grateful for this deer, and thankfully she ran downhill towards where I need to go. Still a long ways out, but it's a little bit easier now. Yeah, super grateful for another fun hunt up here. A lot of guys in camp. Not seeing a ton of deer, but Tim, my cousin, was actually up here yesterday and said he saw 12 doe, and he saw 1 get shot actually. So there was a lot of deer up here. So I knew this is where I wanted to get into. and because I was the only one that had a doe tag. Also with Dad and George, they had doe tags, but they were hunting somewhere else. And so I slipped up in here and got set up on the ground, perfect spot, nice view, and was able to shoot down probably 150 yards or so, but they ended up coming 20 yards behind me, and I spun around, and as soon as the crosshairs crossed the front shoulder here, sipped one through, went right in through the shoulder. I'm guessing I heart shot her, and she was dead within seconds. She plowed down through here and crashed behind this log. Another fun hunt, and just really enjoying this season. It's been a little bit of a struggle to get on deer, but man, when you're up here with good friends, good family, and just in the deer woods, this is an added bonus, and couldn't be more thankful. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you on the next one.
There we go. There we go. We relive the hunt.
Yep.
Always fun to watch it.
Yeah, yeah. So the ending there, like, is that like what you typically do for, like, would that be the best advice to like go through pretty much just walk them through what just happened, even though like you may have seen that already in the video, but like you're just recapping pretty much of what happened in that video.
Yeah. So what I could have done too is shown some B-roll over me talking. There's other videos too where I'll actually have an intro, like I did like a cinematic intro, and then sometimes I'll do a cinematic outro too.
Okay.
Not too many times, but I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways you can do it.
Yeah. For the intro right there, was that drone footage? Like the drone flying over, all that kind of stuff? I mean, I don't know how else you would have done it if it wasn't drone.
Yep. It's a drone.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, the drones are very controversial right now, right? So how do you, I'm not saying get around it, but like, how does that work? Because I know you have to have a certain license for the drones, right? To be able to fly them, or certain types of drones you have to have.
Certain types.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, for certain types you do, or the only thing we really need to watch is like, you can't get into like, I don't know what the terminology is for it. You can't be too close to like an airport.
An airport.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
Airspace
drone will
or
actually, like the drone will actually tell us that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
if you're too close, it won't even take off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
And then as far as like hunting laws, like we just have to make sure we're not using it obviously to aid in the hunt in any type of way. Of
Correct.
course.
Right.
So
Yes.
that was filmed the day
Yeah.
before deer season. I'm
Yeah.
strictly doing it for B-roll
Yep.
purposes.
Yep.
It's not aiding in the deer.
Can't
Yes.
we can't fly it around looking for zooming in on the mountaintop looking for bedded deer or anything
Right,
like that.
right.
It's like that's like what you can't do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So what else from that video do you want to talk about? Because that was, I mean, everything that we covered in the first one was pretty much exactly we covered the camera arm, the setup for that on the ground, the B-roll at the very beginning. You talking over that. What else was important in that video that you think listeners, viewers should know about?
I think one thing is if you're filming deer, like if there's a deer, let's say 50 yards out feeding, you don't need to show 20 minutes of this deer feeding. Show the highlights. Get some really good clips of that deer and just show those highlights. So I filmed those deer for probably 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And those clips there were the best shots that I got.
Right.
A lot of times if I'm watching someone else's video and there's 20 minutes of a deer feeding in one spot, I'm skipping through it.
Yeah.
Like I want to see the video progress and flow
Right.
nicely. So like with our B-roll shots, my rule of thumb is I like 3 seconds. 3 seconds, move to the next shot. Some are longer, some are shorter.
Yeah.
But just like a general rule of thumb, that's what I try and shoot for.
Okay.
It just keeps the viewer engaged, the video flowing, and it's just easier to watch, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. What about you, Grant?
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else in that video that I think we didn't touch on. I think we touched on most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like with the ending, we were talking about the ending a little bit. I think it comes down to like what your style is. There's a lot of different ways that you could end a video. A lot of the time we do like get behind the animal and like, hold it up and show it and talk about the hunt, recap the hunt, but you don't necessarily have to do that. There's a lot of different ways you could, end the video. Really just recapping the hunt, you could, one thing some guys will do is, film days later or however long later, they'll, show the meat, show them how they cook up the game meat, and end it that way, or whatever the case may be. So
hung up in the garage,
right,
or something like that.
Right.
Yep.
Back at camp,
Yep.
talking with the rest of the guys, telling them about the hunt,
Dragging it in.
There's a lot of different ways to do it when it comes to that, I think, depending on what your style is, and a lot of times that's just kind of the way we choose to do it.
What do you think? What shots are overdone in the hunting realm, or like people are using it too much? Like it's like, okay, that's overdone.
Yeah,
It's a great question.
I have to think about that one.
I'm gonna look up some listener questions while you think
Do you
about
have
that.
some?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. They're the same question I've been asking everyone.
Okay.
Like every
Yeah,
self-filmer. Yeah.
I think it goes back for the overused is just the length of either a B-roll shot or filming a deer. Like,
Yeah.
Overuse of that. Has to keep the video moving.
Yeah.
Because YouTube is so saturated.
Yeah.
There's so many good videos, and then you got to weed through them. So just keep it flowing, like I keep saying.
Yeah. All right. So, quick editing tips for newbies. So I'm guessing, like, if you're just quickly going through it, like, what are some quick editing tips? Like organization wise, or anything that you think would speed up someone's process.
Don't delete anything.
I made that mistake.
Keep everything. 'Cause
Yeah.
You never know when you're going to use it. There's so many different things you can play with.
Yeah. One tip would be, like, watch YouTube videos on how to use your editing software.
Correct.
Yes.
Like, when you want to know how to do something.
There's so many good ones.
Instead of, like, taking 20 minutes to try to figure it out on your own, playing around with all these different buttons, take 5 seconds, type it into YouTube, and, like, I almost guarantee there's a video on it on YouTube. We do that all the time still.
I did that with, I used DaVinci, and I did that with that. I was like, how do I do this? How do I brighten up? Because before I added the light right here or that right there, like it was dark in here. When I'm sitting here, it's like I'm sitting in the dark on that camera. So I was like, how do I brighten it up without adding more light? And then I figured it out, and so I did it.
Right.
Like I YouTube that.
Yep. YouTube
That was from Bird Dogs and Barbells. SK Leather Studio. Ways to film solo. What angles for best screen viewing, but also capture hunt. So the second angle, all that kind of stuff. So we kind of talked about that in the part one. What angles would you be your go-to? Because that one there was pretty much the main camera and the GoPro were kind of at the same level, right?
Yep.
So what would be like your go-to?
Other than that one,
Yeah.
it would be, I would say, over the head for the second angle, above you, looking down at you.
Yeah.
That's definitely a go-to.
Yep.
It's probably the biggest one
Yeah.
that I can think of.
I think a lot of people do that one. So that'd probably be go-to for a lot
That
of
really
things.
captures good perspective, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, if you, like, with that example there, if you have the camera facing behind you and the deer runs this way. Okay, so, yeah, my example, if the deer is on the other side of the tree behind you, and then the deer runs actually behind you, behind your back, then you have both angles. Yeah. Chris PWC, do you start filming when you get in the stand, or is it right before the shot?
When we get in the stand.
stand.
Yeah.
Or before.
Or even before.
I feel like the before shot is kind of, no one does it anymore, because that was like the old industry way of like, oh, the deer came in, turn the camera on to get a shot, and then tell a story afterwards.
Right.
That was the old way of like the Outdoor Channel, all that kind of stuff. J Hendricks 20. Would you pass up a shot if you couldn't get it on film? We kind of covered that first one.
Usually not.
Yeah.
Depending on the deer, but
I don't even do it for doe.
yeah. Honestly, I don't either really much anymore either.
No.
I think that shows how like dedicated though you are to it too. Also, like, you want to get the deer down, but also you now have gone through this process of getting the extra deer on film too, as you can get the shot too. So I mean, yeah. What do you use for your editing?
Adobe
Adobe.
Premiere Pro.
Okay, all right. Best way to not get tired of carrying everything on every hunt.
Being
This guy was actually down with you guys in the other state.
Oh, okay.
Justin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, be in good shape, and you just gotta have a lot of passion for it.
You do.
I mean, because even if you're in good shape, it's gonna be heavy. Like, it's a lot of gear. It's long walks. It's a lot of time and setup.
You're adding 10, 15 pounds.
Yeah.
To your gear list.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Have a good pack system.
Yes, that's a big one.
I think would be a good way to do it.
Good organization. Like
Yes.
know where everything's stored. So once you're in that tree, you know what you're doing.
Yep.
Organization, have a system, know your system well, know the gear well. That's the best thing you can do.
Okay. All right. This one is a good one. Shotgun mic or lapel? What in your opinion, if you use both, like which one's better?
Well, I don't know which one's better if you use them both. We only use shotgun mics.
Okay. Yep.
For filming hunts. So.
It's all we've ever used.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say shotgun.
Yeah.
That seems like the answer from everyone.
Yeah.
Is like shotgun because lapels, like, what if you forget to turn it on? What if it doesn't connect? What if it's not charged? All that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Right.
The one question I haven't asked is, like, when you have a shotgun mic, is it sometimes better to have it facing backwards towards you? Or do you always have it facing forward? It doesn't really matter.
We always face them forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you're going to then show shots where you're going to use the audio where you're maybe filming facing front, but you're talking behind the camera.
Yep.
You just got to make sure that you are close enough to the mic that it captures the audio well.
Okay.
And in the editing software, you can ramp up.
Yeah, you can always amplify it too at that time. All right. Well, that was literally everything that I had for part 2. Like that was very short, sweet, to the point. Watch a video. That's it.
Nice.
So, yeah. Where can people follow you guys at and do all that kind of good stuff? Go watch your videos.
Yeah. No, follow us on YouTube at The Everyday Outdoorsman. That's kind of our main thing that we've always done is the videos on YouTube, and then we have the other social platforms as well, Instagram, Facebook. So follow us on there for kind of more live posts, so to speak, and some updates on the story and just updates on kind of what we're doing.
Yep. Try and figure out where they hunt.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming to the studio. Really appreciate it. It was a great chat.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Remember, everyone, keep hunting, keep fishing, keep your tradition, and always enjoy the freaking process.